subscribe to Miniature Dork Universe, bitch.
Hello, fellow glue sniffers and paint sniffers and hobby enthusiasts. Welcome back to another round of Miniature Dork Universe. In this episode, we're going to cover or review a couple of sets of Japanese infantry. Well, they're not really sets. You buy them sort of in individual packets from these companies, but we're going to look at Eureka and Peter Pig 15mm Japanese. So what I'm trying to do is build a Japanese army for the time period around the sort of Japanese blitzkrieg. So that would include like Malaya, the Dutch East Indies, the Philippines, that kind of era. So yeah, when I looked at the figures that are available, well, available to me, I have a store close by that has the old Flames of War stuff. So I looked at the Flames of War Japanese and Peter Pig, Eureka, and Skytrex. I was looking for guys that looked more like tropical, though. And as a result, I ended up going with the Peter Pigs and the Eurekas. The Flames of War guys, they're all wearing the tunics, and none of them really have like the sun flaps on their helmets and the caps. So they look more like they're, for the Kalkan Goal type campaign or fighting in China. For sure you can use them for Pacific, and there's lots of photos of Japanese infantry in the Pacific wearing just the typical tunics, so you can get away with it, but I just wanted to give it more of a jungle-y sort of tropical look, so I went with this. So I had a few reference pictures. Here's some guys walking around. I don't know what this one guy has at the end. He looks like an officer, perhaps. Looks like he's got a big baseball bat. But this is a picture of the troops in the Dutch East Indies. Yeah, and so they wore the tunics, but there was also like a shirt, a 3/4 length shirt that was worn, and a short sleeve shirt that was worn in the tropical areas. Here we have another picture. This is from an Osprey book on the Dutch East Indies campaign. So here you see the guys wearing the tunics. Some of them have their shirt sleeves rolled up, but that's a great painting of an attack on the oil fields with all the oil derricks and Dutch bunkers, barbed wire. And you can see the infantry kit is quite light because they're attacking. So I also wanted to reflect that in the infantry I selected. Okay, here, this is from a great book, Japanese Infantry Arms in World War II. Unfortunately, it's mostly in Japanese, but the illustrations are so great that it makes up for the fact that I can't read half the thing. But this is just a shot of a basic Japanese squad. So they're quite large. It's like 14 guys in a squad. You can see the light machine gunner and the various specialist equipment for the light machine guns and the rifles. And they're all wearing the tunics, and these guys could be in Kalkan Gold, China, or even the Pacific. They also have the helmet covers. And out of an Osprey book, here's the breakdown of the rifle platoon. And as you can see, there's a fourth section. That's the grenade discharger. That would be the Type 89, I think. Type 89, which they called the knee mortar. And they would split these guys up. So there's 3 knee mortars in the fourth discharger section. And from what I know, they would split them up into the 3 other squads or sections. So that would just make each section even larger. There'd probably be about 20 guys once you added the. There'd be about 4 guys with the grenade discharger. So quite large squads. It doesn't really matter in my case because I'm doing Flames of War. sorry, I'm doing crossfire. But if you're doing, something where, like bolt action in 15mm or it's a command decision where you're, one-to-one representing a platoon, your platoons of Japanese will be quite large. So yeah, that's my blurb, how I decided to choose. Here's another Osprey book on Japanese and some of the uniforms worn in the Dutch East Indies. You can see the guy with the grenade discharger has the full sleeve tunic, and the officer has the sort of 3/4 length shirt. And then over here we have a paratrooper who looks really badass. As far as I know, there's no 15mm paratroopers, but that's too bad. They look pretty bloody cool. So we'll start with just the standard Riflemen. They have the basic sort of light equipment that they would wear into combat. So their ammunition pouches, a canteen, a bread bag. They both have the bayonet scabbard, or frog, I guess you would call it, for a bayonet. They're both scaled pretty well together. However, the Eureka guys have much bigger heads than the Peter Pig guys, unfortunately. So they do look a bit Elmer Fudd. But what I've done to offset this, because this is the kind of geek I am, I've bought the Peter Pig Japanese helmets, which are bigger, strangely, than, as you can see, they're much bigger than the heads on these guys, but they're quite well scaled out to the heads on these guys. So this is good, and it seems like the Eureka figures have helmet covers on their helmets, so it kind of obscures the shape a bit. But just to keep the heads kind of in the same size, I got the Peter Pig heads, and I'm glad that they have those options available, because I do get pretty OCD about that kind of stuff. So yeah, the actual uniforms, the Peter Pig guys are all wearing the long sleeve tunics, and the Eureka guys are all wearing the short sleeve shirt, which is fine, and this is why I like to mix them up. The rifles are roughly scaled out. There's some like a piece of sprue still left on the bayonet, so once it's snipped off, the bayonets are roughly the same size. The Peter Pigs are made out of pewter, so they're a bit harder, which is nice. They're a bit more robust. The Eurekas, I think, are white metal, and the rifles are quite delicate, so they bend pretty easy. So, I would base it accordingly so that you're not bending the hell out of your rifles. What else can I say about the Riflemen? They all look pretty good. They all have their share of poses. Some of the poses are really, really nice, and some of them are kind of so-so. But they're all, compared to the other manufacturers, they're quite good. Yeah, I was pretty happy with both. Peter Pig, you can also get guys with like all of their packs. There's a Naval Landing Force team of rifles, but they only have the rifles, which is kind of disappointing. If you wanted to do the Naval Landing Force, you're not going to get a wide variety of those. Peter Pig also has guys wearing like loincloths, but they're more for the later island hopping campaigns where Japan's really hurting and they are low on equipment and resupply. But if you're doing, Japanese during that sort of, what they call the Japanese blitzkrieg, where they just sort of lightning took over, most of the South Pacific, then, yeah, they won't be running around Malaya or the Dutch East Indies in loincloths. So you want guys that look more like this. And here, we'll look at some of the other rifles. So they have basically the same infantry equipment. They've got the light equipment, so that's good for combat. Yeah, they don't have any of like the sun flaps on their helmets, so you know they could be used for a more temperate battlefield, like in China, for example. You can always add those flaps on with green stuff though, which is kind of fun and kind of cool. If you wanted to sort of Pacific them up, and you could totally use these guys in the Pacific as well, as previously mentioned. And they, you know, their poses are pretty nice and they look good. I think they look good. The thing is they're probably the most expensive option of the lot, at least at this store where they still have them. It's like ridiculous. Yeah, like we're talking like $100 ridiculous. So yeah, we will not bother with that. And then the Skytrex figures, they're pretty nice too. They're a bit more rough, and the rifles look a lot shorter. I haven't seen them beside one another. What I would say though is that the helmets on Skytrex figures look they look more like British helmets. They don't look really convincing for Japanese helmets. And overall, like the sculpting is, or I don't know if it's the sculpting or the casting, it's a little rougher. But, you know, you might not care. I think Skytrex is probably the cheapest option out of all of them. Depending where you live. I live in Canada, so the shipping and handling on a lot of things coming from the States and UK is like, can be really ridiculous. So, you know, more often than not, the shipping is more than the actual product, which is a real piss off. So that definitely determines what I was going to buy. Like, for example, Skytrex for me, the shipping is crazy. It's always way more than the actual products that I'm buying. So I kind of don't go that route often. But yeah, I would say the figures, if you are in the UK and you can get the cheap, you know, cheaper shipping and handling, like the poses are pretty good. They look good. The helmets just look a little bit strange, you know. So that's our rifles. Oh yeah, I'll show you. I have a couple ready to paint. Hint, hint. We're going to be painting soon. And I've put so this is the Peter Pig guy and I replaced the head with the larger head beside the Eureka miniature. And yeah, I would say the heads are more in scale with each other, so they'll look good on the same base. And the Eureka guys all have what I think is the helmet cover, or it's just not as accurately modeled as the Peter Pig ones. But I'm going to use them as helmet covers, and I've just chopped in the seam. There's like a seam that goes around it, sort of like a soccer, not a soccer ball, like a basketball or something. Anyway, I've just carefully sort of scored that in with a knife. But we'll cover that when we paint these things, which will be a different video. There are a lot of good videos on painting too out there. I can think there's the Storm of Steel. He does sort of like a speed painting with washes, and they look really good. And then there's the Battlefront. There's an old YouTube video of their painting colors, which look pretty good too. And my color schemes are going to be very similar to both of those in ways. But I'll be doing more like block painting. So if you want to block paint your Japanese, stay tuned for that. That'll probably be coming up next. Here we have the Peter Pig on the left and the Eureka on the right. The pose is very similar to both figures. They're both carrying a bayoneted light machine gun. And these light machine guns can either represent the Type 96, which was a 6.5mm round, or the Type 99, which was a 7.7mm round that came out a bit later. They both look identical, and they both have the option to screw the flash suppressor on. In this case, in both cases, the flash suppressor is off. You know, and they both look pretty good. Again, the Peter Pig head's a bit smaller. I'm probably going to swap that out with a helmet if I use them beside the Eureka guys. The Peter Pig guy's wearing the tunic again. The Eureka guy's wearing the short sleeve shirt. But here's where Peter Pig stands out. When you have things like the specialized teams, they all have all the proper equipment. Like he's got a spare barrel, and the light machine guns, the Japanese LMGs, had an optical scope, so there's a case for that. He's got a pistol case as well. All of this stuff is missing on the Eureka guy. So, you know, kudos to that. That's awesome. And also the Peter Pig guy, or Peter Pig, sorry, not the guy, the company, they'll give you like a number 2 who's carrying all the proper ammunition cases. He's got like the little ammunition pouch here. We'll show you that. So here's a diagram of the LMG accessories, and the diagram, that pouch looks to be like a 1-round pouch, and it almost looks like the one this guy is carrying is a 1-round pouch. Hopefully you can see it and it's in focus, but that's it. He's carrying it in his hand, and then that's it on the down in the lower left corner there in the diagram. And here's like a picture I just grabbed off YouTube, and that pouch looks like it probably carries like 2 or 3 magazines, which makes sense. I can't imagine why you would have a 1 magazine pouch, you know, like if you're gonna have a carry case, you know, it's like, oh, that 1 magazine really made the difference. I don't think so, but it looks like they did have a 1 magazine pouch, because this guy, and let's see, the guys from that book, The Japanese Infantry Arms in World War II. I'm just trying to find all of this stuff here. Well, if you look at, we'll come back to this picture of the infantry squad. You can see, you know, he's got the pouch in his left hand there, and it looks to be like a 1-round pouch, which is kind of dumb, but yeah, maybe that's just I don't know. If any of you know about that, you could let me know in the comments section. But maybe they just got it wrong in the infantry arms book, or that pouch that we're seeing that I got the picture off of YouTube looks as if it could be, you know, a replica. It looks very clean, so who knows? But anyway, back to the review. Yeah, you get that number 2. He's got the pouch, he's got a pistol, you know, so yeah, the fact that they come with all the proper equipment is lovely. And also, when you get the Peter Pig LMGs, you have a fellow that's firing it in a prone, which is always nice to have, because that's the more typical sort of position to fire from the prone using the bipod. And of course, you've got a number 2 with, these ones are kind of harder for me to show, they like to go out of focus. Number 2 with the appropriate ammo, and of course they're wearing all the gears like the optic case, the extra ammunition pouches, all of that good stuff. I don't think Eureka actually had a prone LMG gunner, which is kind of unfortunate. So yeah, there's our light machine guns. And now let's look at some of the light machine guns from the other manufacturers. Let's see, they don't have them on their own, but you can see this guy here. He's got, you know, the typical machine gun. His has the flash suppressor on it. And you can see him from the back here on the right, and it kind of looks like he doesn't have any of the specialist machine gun equipment, so yeah, boo. And the Skytrex LMGs here, I mean, you got a guy firing it from the shoulder. I'm sure it could be done, but I don't know. He might be cool to stick in a bunker, though, or chop his lower half off and make him into an entrenched guy. That's where I would use a figure like that. Then it would be pretty wild. But just standing there firing from the shoulder. Here's another kind of weird kneeling pose. It's too hard to tell what equipment they have. You can't see the figures from the back, but I'm going to go ahead and guess that they probably just have them with the basic infantry equipment. So here we have the Type 92 heavy machine gun. This is just the Peter Pig. I didn't get the Eureka. But in true Peter Pig style, they have all the proper equipment and gear for guys that would be firing a Type 92 machine gun. And the way you can identify this as the Type 92 over the Type 3 is the Type 3 sort of pistol grips that the firer would use are sort of in the same position as like a Vickers or a like a Maxim or something, and on the Type 99 they're sort of lower beneath the weapon, and they're kind of unique. No other gun has from that I've seen has a similar type of pistol grips on it for firing. And you have an ammunition loader, which looks good, so he can be put right here. Sorry, it goes out of focus every time I get it too close to the camera, but you know, when you position him, he's loading the Hotchkiss type ammunition into the gun. So that's also nice. A lot of the other figures don't have that feature, so it's not as close to reality. It also comes with this commander figure with binoculars, but I'll probably use him for like an anti-tank gun or something as well. They have a couple extras, so, or not extra, but you know, you get your 8 guys in a pack, so I think there's 2 or 3 of those commanders, so you can use them for different things too. But yeah, I really like those, and let's see what we've got. Yeah, here's a picture of some of the accessories, the ammo, and an asbestos carry case, and a case for the gun sight, because they had an optical sight too. Here's how the machine gun crew interact with the machine gun in one of the types of ammunition crates, which these guys have both types in here that I've seen pictures of. The tripod on the gun looks really good. It has the areas where you can attach these carry handles on the front and back, so they're actually modeled onto the machine gun, which is nice. Here's more of the machine gun squads carrying the various ammunition boxes. And we'll look at, here's the Flames of War heavy machine guns. This is just off their site. So, you know, the machine gun looks pretty nice. And it looks to be another Type 99. Again, you can tell by where the handles for the firer are. I don't know what the fuck you'd call those handles. Fuck. pistol grips or whatever. Yeah, and the loader is holding the ammo strip, but the ammo strip isn't loaded in the gun, so that's kind of not so good. And they're not wearing any of the specialist equipment like our Peter Pig fellas, so yeah, gotta like that when they're wearing the right gear. And let's see, do we have a Skytrex? Yeah, so here you got the Skytrex guy. The machine gun looks pretty good. And that one looks like he could be firing the Type 3 because of where his hands are positioned back there. Now the ammo case that the one carrier is carrying does not look like the right kind of case for a Type 3 or a Type 92. They just put in an ammo looking case. So I'm guessing they probably don't have all the kind of cool authentic gear and equipment that would be on the Peter Pig guys. And here's a close-up. And very similar to the Flames of War figure, he's holding the ammunition strip, but there's none actually loaded in the gun. I like it better when it's loaded in the gun. But that's just me. And you can see these figures here are also depicted with the short sleeve shirt on, as opposed to the tunic. So they're going to look pretty good Pacific. But if you want to do a China or, yeah, well, basically China type battle, you might want to go with, you know, the Peter Pig guys with the tunics or the Flames of War guys with the tunics. I imagine you'll be able to pick those up quite a bit cheaper soon, or you might even be super lucky and they'll come out with, you know, their hard plastics are really nice, so they might come out with a really awesome hard plastic option. Who knows? So that's our heavy machine guns. Now we will do the Type 89, what the Allies call the knee mortar, but you would not want to fire that from your knee because that apparently would break your knee. And so we have here on the left is the Peter Pig and on the right is the Eureka. They both have the proper pouches for the Type 89 grenades. Here's a picture of a reenactor, and here's a little, you know, just a small picture taken out of that same Japanese Infantry Arms book. Awesome. And I don't have, do I have any pictures? I don't have any pictures that I could get off the internet of the Flames of War guys. I know they have a mortar, like a knee mortar, but it's too far away, too small of a picture to really tell. But my guess is that they probably don't have the specialized equipment because it doesn't seem like they bothered. You know, they just give everybody the same sort of infantry equipment and go. This is the Type 92 70mm battalion gun. This one's from Peter Pig. But here I'll show a picture. Here's the Flames of War model, so that might become available in the next little while. I'm not sure. Or maybe you can get her on eBay if you prefer that one. Definitely the crews look nice. And the gun looks pretty nice. The wheels are a bit thinner. The wheels for the Peter Pig are quite beefy. But that's okay. You can sort of disguise that with painting. I think the Peter Pig actually has a bit more detail on the gun, which I like. Now the crews for these Flames of War ones here look much better. I think there's a Skytrex example of the same gun. Yeah, the Skytrex gun is more crude, obviously, but you get 3 of them in a pack. With this you get 2 in a pack, and you have to buy the crews separately, and here's where my pet peeve is. So, yeah, Skytrex, they get it so right with the infantry and all the specialist weapons, but the crews are always kind of lackluster, I find. You know, as much as I like, sorry Peter Pig, I like all of your gear, but I wish the crews were better. You always have these guys like waving their hands and whatever. I think for a direct fire weapon, maybe one guy pointing is okay, but they never really seem to interact well with the gun. And I don't even think these are all the crews that come with their gun crew. I think this is the commander from the heavy machine gun. This is one of the gun crews. This might be from the mortar set, but I think this is one of the gun crew. I don't know because I don't have it in front of me, but yeah, I just wish they were interacting with their weapons more, and I wish there was you know, the specialized gear and whatever, and ammunition. You know, they don't have ammunition. They have all the cool ammunition pouches with like the light machine guns and the heavy machine guns, but I want to see some ammo for my guns and mortars. So we'll show you the mortar too. And again, I think I have the mortar crews kind of mixed up, but the actual mortar for Peter Pig looks quite good. And let's see, we have the Flames of War mortar. here. And that mortar looks pretty good too. And the crew definitely looks better. Again, we've got more of these guys waving their hands. You know, there might be somebody waving their hand, but I would rather they replace this guy and just have a pile of mortar ammunition. And the guys firing the mortar look kind of, yeah, they're just kind of so-so. They don't look, like here, let's look at an actual picture of a Japanese mortar firing. Yeah, so here's the Type 97 mortar firing. The actual thing, and you can see the crew are kneeling. I don't, you know, in these poses, I don't see why they would be so hard to recreate. They've got their helmets on their back. This guy's got a pistol. They have, you know, the optical kits and everything. More ammunition. I just wish they would give their mortar crews and their gun crews the same detail. Now the gun crews are kind of generic. I know, like they can go with various calibers of guns, but I almost wish that was a set where you got, instead of 2 guns, 1 gun, and then crews that look like they go with the gun. Let's go back to the gun for a second. Here's an actual picture of the gun firing. So you see the crew is kneeling. There's no standing poses. So it's almost like they could have had an anti-tank gun crew. This guy's kneeling, but again, I don't know why his hand's got to be, you know, I'd rather no hand out and just even have his hand closer to the body so it looks like he's interacting with the gun, you know, because that looks pretty cool when it's firing. Here's a picture from the Japanese Infantry Arms book of the gun crew. So it seems like there's 2 crew members in close proximity to the gun. And then in behind, you would have your ammunition bearers and that type of thing. Let's see, do we have... So yeah, so that was the gun in the mortar. I think I have a picture here of the Skytrex mortar too. Yeah, Skytrex mortar. And so those crews look pretty good. They definitely look better than the ones that came with the Peter Pig. I like this guy lugging the ammunition over his head. That's pretty good. The mortar doesn't look as nice, and the barrel is way smaller than the round, which looks kind of dumb. But yeah, overall it's pretty good. I think this Peter Pig mortar, the Peter Pig mortars are good. The area between the 2 front bipod is always filled in, so you kind of got to paint that in. But the actual mortar itself always has all the right, you know, the sights look proper, and yeah, all the gear. The base plate always looks, sorry, out of focus. The base plate always looks really good. Okay, so we're getting to the end here of some of these guys I am reviewing. The last one actually isn't Peter Pig or Eureka. It's this is QRF. So I just wanted one 37mm gun, and I ordered all my K&IL guys from QRF. So I got the QRF. This was the, this is the Type, God, this is a 37mm anti-tank gun. Let's see if I have a picture of this somewhere firing. Okay, here's the Flames of War. So the Flames of War kit comes with the metal wheels, which replaced the spoked sort of old-timey wheels, but the spoked wheels still were used, especially in 1942. But the Flames of War gun is definitely more detailed, and there's a cutout for the scope, like the optical sight for the gun. You could do that with this. I think I'm just going to use a, you know, black paint or something to paint it in. But the gun isn't bad, and if you just want one, you know, in the store where I can get the Japanese, they have this gun, but again, it's like way more expensive than just buying one. The crew for it are, let's see, they're not too bad. You know, they're nothing special. Again, you've got the guy waving his arm around, but that might make more sense with an anti-tank gun. Someone pointing, target indication. There's a guy with the 37mm round, and a guy that sort of interacts with the gun. Actually, this guy is Eureka. I don't know where the other guy that actually comes with their artillery crew set, but they all sort of blend in together nicely, around the same size. The QRF Japanese are a bit cruder yet, but you know, they'll do, especially for like a gun crew. But again, it would be nice if they did have some of the specific equipment for the guns and ammo. There's no ammo cases. God, just give me some ammo cases. Because I'm so OCD, I have to have ammo cases with it. So I end up building the shit myself. And it just takes time. It's satisfying, but it takes time. I'd rather just stick it down and bloody well paint it. But yeah, the gun and the crew look pretty good together, just to get one. And QRF does have some cool stuff. Like they have the horse limbers for artillery if you want to do that. So it's a bit rougher, but you know, for certain things, I guess it's pretty good. Something I wanted to mention too is the cost per figure for each thing. So Battlefront, I don't know, because the ones that are available to me are probably a bit inflated because they stopped making those. They're out of production for the time being, so I don't know. But your Eurekas end up being 85 cents Canadian. I figured this out in Canadian dollars, so you can check out a currency converter, but 85 cents a piece for these. Peter Pigs work out to 96 cents a piece for these. And then the Skytrex work out to be about 65 cents per figure. So Skytrex is probably the cheapest, unless of course you live in Canada and the shipping and handling is ridiculous. If you're in the UK though, you can probably get Skytrex pretty bloody cheap. So yeah, there's that as well. So that's it for today's video, mostly looking at Eureka and Peter Pig 15mm Japanese. Unfortunately, I don't have any painted up yet, so I can't do the metal outro with all the pictures. Some of you are probably sighing with relief. But yeah, that'll be coming up. I'm really looking forward to painting these guys. And in the meantime, if you want to paint some Japanese immediately, there's a lot of great tutorials, but for sure that Storm of Steel site has a good one, the Battlefront, and there's a bunch of you know, bolt action, you know, larger scales, where you can just use the same colors. But if you have the time to wait, I'll be back with these guys painted up. So thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more Miniature Dork Universe. Bye for now.